welcome to another episode of Making It. I'm your host, Moyo, and today I'm sitting down with Aaliyah Kissick, who is the owner of AK Boutique.
Yes, thank you so much for coming out.
Of course. When I heard about your story via social media, I saw that you were an entrepreneur, and I was like, yes. And then I was like, oh, she's young too. Yes, even more yeses for you.
More yeses, all the yeses.
So how did you get here? You want to tell us, and I guess you can explain like how you started.
For sure.
Yeah.
So it's been a long 3.5 years.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, the business actually started as a mixture of spite and breakup blues because I just kept shopping.
It's okay.
And I kept shopping and I kept buying things that didn't fit me. I tell everyone that I'm a resale therapist because I used to use resale as my own therapy.
Yeah.
So now it's passing on the good vibes.
Yeah,
but
for me it was like a workout. Like,
yeah.
I'm working out.
You get me.
So, yeah,
you really get
I
me.
understand.
So yeah, but that's kind of where everything started. And
what was the spite out of?
I had another job.
Okay.
They fired me. They said I wasn't suited for retail. I'm not going to say who it was. They're awesome people. Just I was 16, didn't know what I was doing. Now I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started off back when I was 16 and started with $50, my cell phone camera, and then a bin of clothing I had stored in my mom's garage. So very glamorous, to say the least. As I kept going, I think that the biggest thing that set me apart from other people who were reselling online was that I was adapting. It wasn't just that I was doing the same thing that people are doing for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
It's that I was figuring out what was changing with the market, because if you've taken any economics, clothing is as close to perfect competition as you're going to get a lot of times. There are ways you can differentiate yourself by creating a brand, which I've done really well with AK Boutique with. But when you're first starting off and you have no clue what you're doing, all of the clothing starts to look the same.
Yeah.
So what I did to differentiate myself was to start figuring out how to stay relevant, how to make things exciting. Yeah, exactly. And then that said, as I began to do pop-up stores in the area, my hometown of Athens is awesome. They let me set up at the Athens Fall Festival, and everyone was like, she's so cute, she's 17, look at her go. Yeah. Everyone was so supportive, it was awesome.
How did you, I guess, have that drive to continue, even like where we are today, this shop, how did you have this drive to just keep going?
That is the golden question, because I don't really know. My mom.
Maybe personality?
It might be my personality.
Like a huge part.
I'm a workaholic, honestly. Yeah. I love it. They say that whenever you do something you love, you don't work a day in your life. That's not necessarily true to me, because like there are some days I come in here and I have to do all the tagging and the organizing. I'm like, oh my gosh. But then when I get someone who comes in and loves the experience because it's clean and there's awesome inventory, that's when the work stops and that's when I'm having fun. So I kind of have to get myself set up for the success in that part. But then the actual drive itself, my mom, she's a registered nurse. She put herself through college after going through an abusive relationship and a divorce. She moved out on her own. I think that's probably where I got the drive from. Now the business sense, we have no idea. Like my mom, like I was raised by a single mother. She's just a nurse. I told her I'm going to start a business.
She's like,
and she's like, okay, have fun. And she was supportive, but she had no clue what I was doing. The first year that I did my own taxes, she was watching me like, you're past me, you're beyond me, I don't know. So I really don't know.
And your mom helps you now, though.
Yes, she does. More. Yes, she's awesome. I can honestly say that watching her develop her own fashion sense and watching her develop in like customer service and sales has been so much fun.
Yeah.
Because it shows that anyone at any age can learn anything.
Along with your mom, you also have a lot of young girls working with you, right?
Yes.
So how has that, because you're young too and you're an owner and an entrepreneur, how has that been like the hiring process and training people? Because I came in here and you were training girls how to do the register. So how has that process been for you?
It's been really exciting.
Taking people under your wing and then having them look up to you and work with you and having trust.
Yes. So I think that every business owner sort of feels like they're taking it to the next level whenever they begin to hire staff and grow their team, because that's kind of the breaking point when you realize that your vision is starting to become someone else's vision too. And other people are starting to invest in that same thing. For me, it was kind of when I realized that the business was becoming bigger than myself, because even though the experience was helping out, like I had a customer base of 500 people out of a town of 2,000 people. People would come from out of town to come in, but I still felt like it was kind of still like my vision, and I wanted to make it bigger. But once I hired that staff, I have 6 girls right now. That's when it started to be.
Store.
Yes, at this store. It started to become bigger than myself because there were other people who were inspired and motivated, and I was able to help these girls like figure out what they want to do and fun stuff like that. Because I don't know, when I was 16, I had no idea what I was going to do. I still have no idea what I'm going to do at any given day, I'm not going to lie. But helping other people kind of get on the right path to do something.
Yeah.
It's fun because I have one employee, her name's Shelby. She really wants to be a photojournalist. So I started teaching her how to edit photos because that's something I did for my e-commerce chain, and she absolutely loves the learning around it.
Yeah.
I did interviews. It felt really kind of gross. Like, I don't know why. It's because I felt like everyone who was sitting down there, we were like playing a part, and it felt staged. It's like, as an interviewer, I'm expected to ask these certain questions, and then as the person being interviewed, they were also expected to answer certain, and it felt gross. It felt really gross. It felt unnatural. So I can honestly say that some of my best employees, which has been pretty much all of them, like all of the girls I've hired, I didn't hire through the interview process.
Wow.
And then a couple of the other girls were women I'd met through social media too. I met one through college. So what I'm trying to say is that the hiring process for me has been a lot more organic, and it's been more about making those genuine connections than it has been who can check the boxes.
Yeah. Not just who looks good on paper.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And watching the team come together because of that has been beautiful.
Now, we are living in a day and age where social media is playing a huge role.
Yes.
And also, just like thrifting, it's so popular. You know, there's so many apps where you can take pictures and sell your clothes. How has that played a part in your business? Because I even saw you do like Facebook Live.
Yes.
Where you're having so much engagement with your audience. Every time you see a viewer pop up to your video, log in and view your video, you're greeting them.
I'm not going to lie. When I was 17, I opened my first brick and mortar. That's the second half of my story. I actually started through downtown Springfield. I opened a pop-up shop there for a month. After that, I fell in love with the whole process. So I went back to Athens. I'm like, who's gonna let a 17-year-old open a building? And I was lucky enough to find a man who took a chance on me, and he was awesome. So with the social media part of it, I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, I'm going to go out of business if I don't figure out a way to get grown women to believe a 17-year-old girl on shopping advice. So I was thinking to myself, and I started watching a bunch of podcasts and listening to a bunch of other powerful female entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And one thing that made me buy their products was that they were giving me value. They were helping me build my own business. And so whenever they'd come out with like a new planner or a new
And who were
filter,
some of those?
Jenna Kutcher is the big one. Jenna Kutcher is like amazing. She's my inspiration. She's a mom now. I want to be a mom one day. She just kills it. So that said, they were all providing me value. And I realized, okay, if I want to stay in business, now this is me still a senior in high school, it's like I need to provide people value somehow.
Yeah.
So then I got on Facebook and I started doing like little outfit of the days. One thing that I think a lot of people sell themselves short on are their own talents. I've always been very good at styling outfits. I've always been very good at finding pieces that are unique and then stringing them together in a way people would have never thought of. I didn't realize that was a talent until I started reading some of the comments of, I would have never thought about that.
Yeah. What comes naturally to
Yes.
you,
It's
whatever
a
comes
gift.
naturally to you, take note of that.
Yes.
Take note of that.
So I began to take note of that, and I'm like, okay, some people actually struggle with this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give the world my gifts through Facebook, because Facebook is just what I was using at the time.
Yes.
And it worked. So I was this random 17-year-old holding a sign, but then once I started doing those social media posts, people were paying attention.
Yeah.
And that's how I was able to convince grown women who have experience shopping to buy from a 17-year-old.
Right.
So from there, I kept practicing, I kept posting every day, and I started to develop my own brand and my own voice. And that's something we take very seriously here, is that we are all about the experience, and social media does not have to be a negative experience for anyone.
Yes, exactly. And I think what's awesome about the whole thrifting is
Yes.
once you figure out your style, when you go thrifting and when you come in stores like this, you can find items and it'll last forever.
Yes.
It's not just what's on trend. It's this is my specific style.
Yes.
And yes, this may be an older item from 2 seasons ago. However, this is my style, and I can continue to reuse this item.
Yes, there's a lot of our competition tends to only buy items that are within 2 to 3 years old.
Yes.
And we tell everyone that the trends are timeless.
And things come back all the time.
Things come back. Leopard print.
Overalls came back. Cheetah print.
Yes.
Leopard print came back.
Yes, I started buying leopard print like a lot back in 2017. My mom was like, "What are you doing,
Now
Aaliyah?"
I don't throw anything away at this point. Polka dots come back. Everything comes back.
Everything comes back. So it's interesting to see how calculated the markets are with bringing trends back. But I think that at the same time, it's important to watch the organic nature of it, because the markets are pulling from somewhere. The markets are inspired by something.
What advice would you give young entrepreneurs and maybe entrepreneurs that are even older and they want to get into starting their own business? What advice would you give people?
So I am going to give you the advice that I currently need to hear right now. Because as entrepreneurs, we all fall off.
Yeah.
I've been working 70 and 80-hour weeks, and so sometimes it's easy for me to forget some of the most important lessons that I've learned. And I think that consistency is that biggest lesson.
Yes, that's like one of my words for the year.
Yes. When I was 17 and just starting, and I had that vision and that dream, and it was fresh and it was burning, I did things every day. I made sure that I was posting all of my social media every day. I made sure I was tagging certain items every day, posting certain things online every day, and it worked. I'm here now. That consistency is how you move forward. So consistency is key, but then for entrepreneurs who have been doing this for a little bit, it's important also to remember that it's okay to fall off of what you're doing and gently guide yourself back on, because being forceful and hateful with yourself is not going to help you get back on the consistency train at all.
So my last question for you is, what does making it mean to you?
That is such a good question. So usually I would tell people, I have no idea, I'm so young, but I'm getting to the point, I'm almost 20 now. It's time for me to get my ish together.
Girl, go ahead.
But I think that making it for me has to do with making sure that people have good experiences in the mall. This is something I don't necessarily tell everyone. I'm open about it on my personal social media, but not as much necessarily with AK Boutique. I used to be almost 200 pounds. Shopping was very hard, and I specifically remember walking into the mall and being laughed out of a store because they didn't have my size. I was crying, and I didn't really feel comfortable until I started shopping at Rue 21. And there is a woman named Kayla Turnbull. She was, I think, 15 at the time when she started there. She made me feel comfortable, and she made me feel okay. I'm tearing up. I need to, I need to take a breather. But
thank you for being vulnerable, first of all.
Of course. Vulnerability is my big thing. Just share. I probably overshare. People don't want to hear what I have to say all the time, but that's okay, because this is who I am. So I know that there have been multiple girls who have came into my store, and maybe they're the same age as I was. Maybe they have a weight issue. But like with me, it started melting off of me when I started high school. It was just a puberty thing. And I know that some of these girls might be the same way. And it doesn't even matter if they never lose the weight. They are still beautiful, and they will be, even if they gain weight. It's fine. Having a space where they can see how beautiful that they truly are and not be laughed at, and have an open space where if something is too small, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because that's just how clothing is. Every size is different. And for me, making it is ensuring that every woman can have an experience like that, a positive one. That's making it for me.
That was really good.
Thank you.
And more deep, so I appreciate that.
I'm crying. It's okay. It's okay.
It's all right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Aaliyah.
you.
Thank you. And I will see you guys on the next episode of Making It.